Welcome everyone in the Bridge Cultures. Today it's 28th of July and we have the country USA with Patricia Souza. Welcome, Patricia.
Thank you very much, Virginia.
Thank you for the participation here in the Bridge. Okay, I would like to present you. Patricia Souza is Brazilian.
A little bit.
A little bit. She's Brazilian, but I lost the. Sorry, just a moment. Okay, here it is. Patricia Souza is graduate in business administration with honors from the University Federal of Santa Catarina, with a specialization in business communication. A volunteer of Conscientiology since 1991, and she's a teacher since 1992. So she has a long experience, and she has been teaching for over 28 years and in 19 countries. So she has a lot of experience. So please ask questions, participate. I think you can start it. Okay. Okay. Another thing, Liana is remembering me that she's author of the following courses: Helpers, the meaning of being one, difference between OBEs and dreams, consciential motivation, preconnections, signs of the future, and that's the 4 courses. So we are seeing that she has a lot of experience. So thank you, and we can start today with USA and the Holokarma of Nations. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Virginia. Virginia invited me to join the Bridge a couple of months ago, and she asked me to talk about the United States. All right, I'm living in the United States since 1998. I'm going to give you a brief history of how I arrived here. I think that's important for us throughout this process, right? Me and my partner, Rodrigo Medeiros, we moved to the US in 1998. Originally, we were going to be living in Austin, Texas, and Waldo Vieira, Professor Waldo Vieira invited us to stay in Miami, Florida to help the International Institute of Projectiology and Conscientiology. So with that, we lived in South Miami for 11 years. And we moved in 2008 to London. And then we came back to the United States in 2017. So I'm total of around 14 years here in the United States, back and forth from Europe, but now is living here in Miami, in Fort Lauderdale at the moment. For the moment, we never know where the evolution is going to take us, but for now, that's the only thing that I learned, is that I learned how to say, for now, I'm living here. But it's a great country to live. There is it's a very interesting and complex country, as a friend of mine likes to say, a complex instead of difficult, but complex, right? So it's a really good moment for me to be sharing the experiences with you, because there are so many things that we experienced here. And as I mentioned to Virginia in the beginning, I don't want this to be a history class. I would like this to be more about the Holophil scene of the United States. And for someone that is going to see this in the near future, they can take a little bit from this and see if it is useful for them, if they are planning to move to the United States or just to come for a visit, right? So starting here, the slides, let me just, yes, move to the first slide. So what I put there for you, when I started preparing this presentation, I liked a lot to understand the size of the United States. I think this is just to start with, right? Most of the people that are going to be watching this video later is from Brazil. And Brazil is quite large. It's a very big country. So is the United States. The United States, in terms of population, ranks the third in the world, right? And it has 4.27 in terms of percentage. So it's quite a big country. And as you can see in the map, when you look at the map, and if we were going to divide this map among all the countries that exist in the world equally, United States it probably has around 50 countries in one because of the size of the land, right? So the area is quite large. You can see that it's 9,372 kilometers. So we have a really big country, and you can see that there is Alaska, there is Hawaii, that it's not in, you cannot see very well in this the large map. But there are so there is a total of 50 states plus Washington D.C., right? And you can see in some of the sides of the big map under the United States of America sentence, you can see that there are dots where you have places where the United States has actually territories as well. These are non-organized territories, some in the U.S. Virgin Islands, some in Asia, and so on. But basically, it is counted 50 states plus the Washington, D.C., right? So just to have an idea, I thought was a very interesting way of understanding the size of the country, thinking if we were going to divide the planet equally in terms of land, the United States probably has close to 50 countries inside of itself. So it's very large. I'm living in Florida, which is the East Coast. And if I want to travel to West Coast, then it would take me around 6 to 7 hours, depending on where we are, right? So hello, Christopher, how are you? Feel free to ask any questions if you need. So, and if I go to Alaska, is it even further up, right? So there is a very good in terms of length of travel. If you travel from New York to London, Liliana, for instance, is 6 hours, right? If you travel from Florida to California, is almost the same duration of flight. So it just for you guys to have an idea of the immense amount of land that this planet, this country has, right? And just another curiosity, if we combine Europe, it's almost the same size of Europe as a whole. So it's really vast, right? Virginia asked us to put some historic landmarks, milestones, just so we can understand a little bit the history of this country. I'm not going through each of them, but I'm going to try to give an explanation. So, and later I can send this PowerPoint presentation to any person that needs, so we can see in detail, right? But basically, the United States, it was a land of tribes. So indigenous people were the first ones in here, right? They owned the country. Canada as well, and Mexico as well, the islands, everything was indigenous people. And then everything starts to switch when people from Spain, from France, from United Kingdom started to come here and colonize this country, right? And so, for instance, one of the most important aspects of the history of this country is when the UK actually establishes 13 colonies in the east coast of the United States, right? And there where everything actually led to wars and, you know, the question of constitution and the independence of the UK in July 4th, 1776. So what we can imagine is a country where the Indians were here, and suddenly foreign people come in and say, this is mine. They have firepower, they have more people sometimes, and they know how to fight. Indigenous people, they were just living here and enjoy the nature, right? So they were being pushed very often to the west, a little bit to the west, a little bit to the west, then further down the Mississippi River, and then up to California. So they were basically put aside by every single country that came into this country here. So France did a big massacre, and also Spain and all that. For instance, Spain, because I live here in Florida, I put this for you, that in 1513, Juan Ponce de Leon visits Florida. We actually have a road in South Florida called Ponce de Leon, and we have an area called Coral Gables. And this area is basically, the heritage is from Spain. So Spain remained with Florida and a big part actually of the United States for a while. And until things changed, but again, you see a lot of, it's a new land, it's a new world, right? So as they called. So people found the United States, found this big amount of land. They came in and started then to fight for more space, right? A relevant aspect is that here in Florida, we have the first permanent settlement in the United States. It's a city called St. Augustine. It's the oldest city in the United States. It's up north to the east of Florida. It's a very beautiful city. If by any chance you have the chance to come here and visit Florida, it's a really good place to go. Not only Disney World, but also St. Augustine. Or you can go to Disney World and then go to St. Augustine later. But it's full of history, and as you can imagine, it's the first city, and actually the first permanent settlement in the United States per se, right? So in 1776 is the Declaration of Independence. Until today, 4th of July is one of the biggest holidays that we have in the United States, right? And then it comes the Constitution, the Bills of Rights. Just an apart here, we were talking about my presentation with some friends that are here. And one friend of mine said, well, Patricia, I was mentioning about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and I was giving a little bit of more emphasis to the positive side, how great it is and how positive it is. And she told me, but it's actually quite male-driven, Patricia. If you take a look, there is always the mentioning of men, not a woman, and I noticed that's actually, it needs a little bit of update at this moment, but that conversation led to something else, where we were discussing that even our language today nowadays, 2019, our language is still a bit more male oriented. So we call each other guys. So, hey guys, let's go out, right? And guys is typically for men, but it became man and woman, right? There is a slang called dude, right? Dude. And so, hey, dude. And this is actually, there is no female version of that. There is only the male version of that. So there is a lot of things in terms of furthermore, in terms of salary equality between women and men. I'm actually helping a nonprofit organization now to create a more balanced work environment in terms of not only how we treat people in the United States, but also in terms of salary. And it's really interesting because it can vary from 15% to maybe 3% difference in terms of the salary between men and women. So it's quite a big amount of money if you think in terms of a year's salary. One thing that I wanted to mention to you is that slavery was outlawed in 1865. Women had the right to vote in 1920. The Civil Rights Act was 1964. So if we stop there for a minute, this is like combined, let's say in average of 100 years ago only, women were not, they could not vote. And we still had some slavery camps. Here in Florida, we have an area called plantation. Plantation was an area for planters. Planters at that time, they were the owners of big amount of lands, and they had slaves. So in 1969, Neil Armstrong became the first man to walk on the moon. So that was super cool. One thing that actually for us changed a lot was in 2001, when the 9/11 terrorist attack happened in the World Trade Center in New York, right? So it was a before and after. There was a really interesting experience for me. I was in the airport with Waldo Vieira and Graça Razera, and they were going to teach classes in New York. So they had finished classes here, and they were traveling to New York to continue classes over there. And it was really interesting because at that time, the airports did not have all the security they have now. We could go in close to the gate, which I didn't even remember anymore. When I was preparing the presentation, I remembered, oh wow, that's true. You know, couple of years ago, I was able to go to the gate and say goodbye to someone, look at a person at the gate, which is really crazy. So I was there at the gate with Waldo Vieira and Graça, and suddenly the airplane is delayed. So there is this information saying your flight has got delayed, and we need to wait a little bit. And at that moment, it was previous to the 9/11. At that moment, I felt something really weird. Grass as well. We were both like looking at each other. It's like it was not a normal delay. There was something in the air. And then Waldo went to. This is just a cartoonish type of story here, because don't believe in me, right? But I'm telling you my experience, and it was so interesting. He went to the window of the airport. And he stayed there, and Grass and I, we were talking, so weird that this flight got delayed. The airplane was there. And then Waldo came back after, I think, 5-7 minutes. He sat and he looked at us. He didn't say anything. He was just looking at us. And then suddenly the woman says, the flight now is going to start boarding. So please get your boarding passes. And then I look at Waldo like, it's weird, like from one second to the other. And he said, I'm getting old. It took me almost like 7 minutes to do this whole thing. And I said, Waldo, I don't understand. And he didn't want to say anything. But later he told us that the energy of all this process of the terrorism attack and all that was already happening. Anyways, just an anecdote here for you. Nothing to worry about it, but just sharing. But anyways, after that, things changed tremendously here. This country was already very bellicist, very aggressive in many ways. This is one of the characteristics, in my opinion, and maybe Liliana knows a little bit about this as well. But it's very intense in the sense of the militarism and all this aspect. But after that, it intensified much more, not only in airports, but also throughout the country in different ways. And we are going to talk a little bit about that. In 2009, Barack Obama became the first African-American president. So, very good, very positive. We had a major breakthrough in this country, where African-American people start to feel more accepted, because after the in 1865, when the slavery was outlawed, the African American people, they were not accepted immediately. If you see movies and the story of this country, there was a lot of racism and a lot of difficult, the relationship between white and African American was very difficult, to say the least. So in 2009, having Barack Obama as a president, that was a very positive thing. Is there a question there?
It's just one thing, yes, I wanted to add, Patricia. In the 9/11, these terrorist acts had a big repercussion, not just in the United States, but worldwide. Sure. And in London, it was also very strong. I remember watching as it was happening, the plane, the second plane going in the tower, and the devastation for people in London, in the UK, was also great, because, as yes, you know, London has many people from many countries and from many Muslim countries. So you have there, you know, so many different peoples and cultures and religions and stuff. Yes. So from next day, there was a reaction between people from different religions that you could yes, see even in the subway. Yes. And the fear was very palpable. And the repercussion in terms of safety for affected things, you know, not just in people traveling, but also goods being transported from country to country. So this affected also the companies working in both countries. So commerce, industry, it affected the life of everybody, really.
Yeah, no, it did. It did. It is interesting that I saw this this lady the other day. She told me they stopped me in the airport just because I had half little bottle of Listerine, which is something for you to clean your mouth with. And but it affected so much, every single country in the world for sure. And but it's snowball in also in the United States, talking about a little bit of the Holocaust scene, right? This country had a level of racism that was very well, let's say, hidden in several layers of the society, right? Mainly in the white part of the society. And when we had Donald Trump as president and his energy of bellicism and aggressiveness and everything else that I cannot even start talking here because we will never finish, he allowed this racism that was hidden, that there was under some layers of, you know, comfort zones. It allowed everybody to start talking to people in ways that it was not allowed before. It was not even accepted before. But I personally here in Florida saw a male white gentleman around 60 years old at Target in a store telling a Muslim person to go back to their country in the middle of a store, which I saw that in other countries, but never in the United States, because here the underlying idea is freedom, right? Everybody has freedom. You can come to this country and you are free. No, you are not. You are definitely not free. There are a lot of chains here, different invisible chains that people, they don't, when they start living here, they start understanding, oh my gosh, that's true. I cannot do that. I cannot do that. I'm not allowed to do this. I cannot say everything that I want. And people say, you can say everything you want. No, you cannot. So there is a little bit of a misunderstanding of even the constitution of this country, and how people really treat each other after the 9/11. That changed completely, and with the Donald Trump, then was the cherry on top of that cake, where people start now feeling, well, if the president is saying this to that person, I can say the same thing to everybody around me. And I saw this recently, I mean a year ago, this woman that she works for the government in I believe North Virginia, and she tweeted a very bad word to define Miss Obama, you know, our former lady and first lady. And so it was really interesting that she used words that were horrible to describe a human being. And nothing happened. She lost her job, but at the same time, a lot of people were supporting her in tweets and all of that. So today, in terms of change from the 9/11, it is a reurbanization process that now became very close to us. Before was there and was dormant, but now we see in supermarkets, in stores, we see in the traffic, people putting stickers, bumper stickers saying, you know, go home, things like that, right? And because they are allowed to say things because of the freedom, they say and they publicize things. So I think I'm going to leave this slide here. Again, I'm going to send that to you, but this is USA in numbers. Population is 330 million people as of this yesterday. So this is a live number that I got for you from yesterday. The median age in the United States is 37.8 years. That's interesting because you would think that it's more, right? You'd think that it's close to maybe 50, 60. It's 37.8. But as you can see, one thing here that is important, 83.9% of the population is urban. And there is this comedian called Bill Maher. I'm not sure if you guys know him, Bill Maher. He's a reporter / comedian, more comedian. Anyways, very tough on the government and everybody else. And I think he's more Democrat, but regardless. And he was having a while back. He got this group of people together, and they were discussing about why people still vote for Donald Trump, and why people that vote for Donald Trump are being also discriminated. Because I have people in my office, in my workplace, where they are voting for Donald Trump, and it's difficult for me to accept that. So I don't say, but I have that difficulty in accepting that. But regardless that, there's discrimination from both sides. And Bill Maher said something really interesting. Most of the people that are Democrat or that they think more, that they are more open-minded, and not necessarily Democrat, but liberals and other parties, they are in urban places, right? They are in big cities. They are connected to more social stuff, but there is a big part of the country that it's rural, that it's very far from all that, and they don't get the same level of information or possibility of debate, analysis as we have in other cities. So he was saying that if we would engage these people more and bring the country more together as a whole, independently of what they like, A or B, but trying to engage and bring people together would be a better scenario. Again, regardless of the outcome, but there is a lot of, at this point, the country is so divided in half. It's very well divided, extremely divided in half, and people debating about so many stupid things. I put some images there for you guys. Indians. I put the picture of this beautiful Indian woman. I just want to give an idea that the American Indians are part of the Holocene of this country. And some of them, per our experience, and again, don't believe in me, come to the United States and test the energy and extra-physical dimension in this country. Some of them are is still here in the extra physical dimension, helping us. And although they were sent to the west side of the country, nobody cared of them, nobody paid attention to them, they were killed, and so many other atrocities happened to them. They are still, some of them are still extra physically helping the country. They really want this country to move forward, to go, to pass this weird moment that we are going through. We just had a class yesterday and today where all the students, they were seeing Indians helpers. So there was a very positive thing. So I just want you to know that they are there. As a curiosity, in the year 2044, the year ethnic minorities will become the majority in the United States. So the ethnic minority, which would be the Hispanics, for instance, in 2044 will become majority. So what is going to happen to this country? This is interesting to think about it, right? Because the Hispanic people will take over of the Americans, right? The Americans that were here. So 50%, over half of the births in the United States have been to people of color since 2012. So it's a reason in people of color since 2012, right? And so on. Anyways, these are numbers I'm going to leave there for you. We have so many cool things to talk about it, but just a little piece here. Again, very quickly, this came from the Wikipedia for us to understand the census of the United States. So we still white people in 2010 was a bigger amount than Hispanic or Latin. Just so you guys know, we speak, and I put in another slide, United States has no official language and no official religion. I don't know if you knew that. There is no official language and no official religion. Although number one language used is English, which is 82%. And then Spanish, 13%, and then Chinese comes in third, 0.64%. So for some reason, Chinese are there trying hard. But interesting to see that in terms of race, white people are still 72%. Any questions, please let me know, okay? We'll continue. So just at this moment, if you could help me, what do you think, based on the quick analysis that we have done, what is the Holocene of the United States? What would you think? It could be a word. It could be just a word.
I don't have a word, but it has to do with multiculturalism for sure.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And
yes.
Another thing that I'm thinking about, belly things, aggressive,
Yes.
war.
Yes. Correct. Correct, Virginia. Yes. What else?
People don't think, many people tend to, maybe because they don't know these things we've been discussing, but they tend to think like of United States, at least here, like a savior or a model to be copied, and it's not. It's not. The aggressiveness alone, the criminality, the level of criminality, the things that are wrong and the things that are, there's a lot of hypocrisy, and there's things now that are coming, as you were saying, that are surfacing, and they are not so cool, they are not so nice, and,
yes.
and more people should be aware of that to understand better that, you know, it's good to copy good things in every model, but we have to be aware and we have to understand the not so good things, because we don't want to copy any of that, of course.
That's an excellent point, Liliana. We actually discussed that yesterday with some friends that are here from Portugal. It's really interesting. There, just to share with you here, I know that the words are quite small, but I'll read for you. So I put together a little bit of information in terms of the Holocene, right? But what you said is really important. So when we first hear, if you come as a tourist, the vision that you have is that you can do anything you want. It's so organized. So the roads are excellent, right? Every time my father comes here, he says, I love the roads. I love the streets. It's all organized. There is no holes on the street because in Brazil, in his city, the streets are very bad. And so one thing for him that it's amazing is the amount of highways that we have here. So that for him it blows his mind, right? You go to McDonald's, you go to Denny's, you go to any restaurant that is a big chain here in the United States, and they give you free refill of sodas, so Coca-Cola, or napkins as many as you want, and straws, and mayo, and ketchup, and whatever you want, you can have it, right? I remember when I came here, we went to a chain called Taco Bell, which is a Mexican-American type of chain, right? And it was my first experience, first time going to a fast food place in the United States. So when I came in, the woman said, would you like a spicy, medium, or non-spicy? And I said, medium. She said, oh, go there and get the spices that you want. When I went to the table, a big, beautiful table that they have a buckets, like with a lot of spices and everything else that you can imagine, right? And I took one because in my mind in Brazil is like one, I probably paid for that one. So I'm just taking one, right? And then this woman comes, which I don't know her. She comes, she takes her hand and she does this and she grabs, I don't know, 5, 6, 10. And then when I look at that, I'm like, wow, she must have paid a lot for that, right? But then I look around in the restaurant and everybody was using as many as they wanted. So this sensation of abundance, of everything is there for us. It is here. So as a tourist, you come here, you go to Disney World, you go to New York, you go to California, you go to whatever big city, you go Washington, D.C., and then suddenly you are there and everything is so organized, everything is easy to do, and everything works. And this is a good thing about the United States. Things work. If you put a chip on your phone, the phone is there. You can use immediately, right? If you need to take a copy of your passport for some reason, you go to a store, you take a copy, you pay 10 cents and you have a copy. So there is no complication, there is no signature. If you don't want the receipt, it's fine. So everything is easy in the sense that it helps you to feel a bit more comfortable with the country, right? You feel, wow, I can do things here. I remember I took my mother to an ATM, a place to take money, cash. And so it was in a supermarket, a Publix place, right? Which is a supermarket chain that we have here in Florida. So I put my card and she came behind me and blocked me with her 2 hands. She blocked me like this, right? And I said, what are you doing? She said, no, so people don't see your PIN code, so they don't see the amount of money that you are taking. And I said, mother, don't worry. There are cameras here. And so security is another aspect of the Holophosine. You do feel secure. Sometimes Rodrigo goes for trips to teach for 15 days. I stay by myself. It's no problem. The other day I slept with my door open. I didn't close my door. So there is no crime in the sense that, oh my gosh, I need to watch my wallet. I cannot put my purse on when I go to a restaurant on the chair. Yes, you can do that. There's not a problem. A friend of ours, we went to a Japanese restaurant yesterday. He left his coat in the restaurant. And I told his wife, don't worry, we'll call the restaurant tomorrow and we get it. She said, no, somebody's going to steal. It's a very expensive one. I called in the morning, somebody pick up. Yes, ma'am, it's here for you. Just come and pick it up. We came, was folded, and they gave it to us. So in terms of security, and I'm not going to say that this is all over the United States, okay? I live in Florida, so that's the way that I see things, because that's where I live. Most of the places it is secure. There are robberies, there are several issues with violence. I actually put in one of the Holocaust, as Virginia was saying, violence here is really, really bad. People, the policemen, they are violent for nothing. One time I was driving and I was with my father in the car, and then the police stops me. It was close to the end of the afternoon, so his lights were very bright and he was whoa, whoa, with all the sounds, and I thought I did something bad. I don't even know what, because I was just 40 miles per hour. I thought maybe this is 25, I don't know. And then I talked to him, and he said, can I see your driver's license and your insurance card and this and that? And I was, yes, sir. And I gave everything. And he looked at me and said, you have one of your front lights is burned, so you have to change your front light. And you have 5 days to do that. And I'm like, wow. But I really felt attacked. I felt that I need to go home to work with energies, because that energy was really bad. He was really aggressive for a light, for a car light that it was not working. And so here in Florida, we had some unfortunate incidents in this previous years with schools shootings, and some of them you probably didn't even hear there in Brazil or in other countries, because they were just hidden from the public. But schools very close to us here, there were shootings, minor shootings. So in the United States, in the past year and a half, the increase in school shootings is tremendous. And children, innocent children, are being killed all over the place. So that's a really sad thing. Gun is allowed. Gun is allowed. So that's one thing for me in the Holocaust scene, that it's really bad. We had a neighbor, which I did not know that until, and I moved out because of the situation. I had a neighbor just a year ago, super nice guy from New Jersey, American, really cool guy. And we did barbecues with him, super nice. And in one barbecue, he showed me a picture. Oh, take a look of my niece. And I look his niece. His niece was carrying, what do you say, metralhadora, Liliana? Forgot it.
Machine gun.
A machine gun, a heavy one, bigger than the little girl, right? And I said, are you crazy? Is this a toy? And he said, no, it's mine. I have 3.
Oh my gosh.
And I told Rodrigo, time to move. I don't care. He's a neighbor, like very close neighbor. And this guy, one day he gets crazy. He had 3 guns under his small 2-bedroom apartment.
And you have children dealing with guns from a very early age. This is crazy. And now in Brazil, it's going the same way.
Yeah. And the rationale, guys, a really good thing. Again, don't believe on me. This is my personal opinion. And I think the gun policy and the debate is endless. But in this country, the rationale of why we have guns is really weak. Just to go to the forest and kill a little, Bambi, that's not enough, right? To allow people to carry a gun inside of supermarket. I went to a sports store maybe 4 months ago. A mother and a son, they were buying a gun in front of me. And the mother told the salesperson, this is to protect my son. So, and this is in Florida. It's here and it's close to us. Anyways, besides that, the Holocaust scene of success. This is really interesting because many people come to the United States because they want to be rich. I want to be rich, so let me go to the United States and make money. And Mexicans, for instance, which is really bad what's happening at the moment. Oh my goodness, it's heartbroken. Every time that I see anything on TV, my heart breaks in 1,000 pieces because it's very, very tough to watch kids in cages at this moment without any any minimal care. But the thing is that everybody comes here because they think I can have the minimum quality of life. I can have a TV, I can have a car, I can have a job, my kids can be fed, my life can be better, so let me go there. There is a slide, I think almost towards the end, that anyone that wants to go to the United States, that really wants to move here, you need to think deeply about why you want to leave your country, whichever country it is, Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil, Colombia. Why would you like to come here? What are the reasons really? And study the Holocene, see if it is worth it, right? Anyways, so success. Yes, please, Christopher. Yeah.
When I see these points that you put on the PowerPoint presentation, I realize that there is also always the shadow side of this. So, for example, I think the US has a big gap between very wealthy people and very poor people also. Mm-hmm. Or many people, they don't have power or influence at all, but they work like 2 or 3 jobs and have no life, for example. So when you say there is the Holocene of success, beauty, money, etc.
Yeah.
I have one question. What is a Holocene? I thought the word holo means everything, so to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And isn't this shadow side also the part of the Holocene?
Yeah.
Because you talk so far about the very sunny side in my
Christopher, is a really good analysis what you did just now. I completely agree with you. But if all of us, let's say that from 300 million people there is in this country now, if 100 million people start thinking that this country, there is a possibility for me to have a better life, to have success, we create this Holocene of illusion of success, right? But at the same time, I have to agree with the Holocene in some aspects, because if you are organized, if you have determination, no matter how much money you have, okay, even if you have just a little bit of money, but if you organize, you work hard, you have determination, you make something for you here. You do make something. I cannot say the same thing in Brazil. I'm from a small city in Brazil called Florianópolis. And I have my family there fighting to have the minimum of the minimum. They are organized, they are determined, they fight hard, but they cannot succeed. So here, because of the mechanism of the capitalism that exists in this country, there's a lot of people here that they invent things. They invent stuff, and they're crazy stuff. But crazy, I mean crazy. But they make $1 million just by inventing a stupid thing, just nothing. And you can say, but this is super stupid. It is, but the guy made $1 million. What can you do? Just to give an idea, a guy invented a monster for the Halloween that stays in the ground, on the ground where there is grass. They put the monster there, and when somebody passes, the monster does this and scares someone. This is because of the Halloween, the fantasies and all that. What happened? That person is a millionaire. And you tell me, but come on, really, right? So, but another topic about success. Yes, the disparity of billionaires and people without anything is much worse now, Christoph. Although there's this Holocene that you can make it, at the same time, there are several people that they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. They cannot see, because they are in tremendous poverty. But as any country, there is a little bit of everything. But I just see that there is, for some reason, and I'm not saying that this is the entire country, there is a little bit more, a bit stronger Holocene of success than average. Do you have more questions?
Yeah. USA is known for being the earth of the opportunities. For example, in Spain, the land of opportunities. In Spain, when I used to think in USA, it's like, you have all the opportunities over there. So exactly. Not only inside USA, but people from outside used to think about USA like an opportunity to success, to the land you can do all you want, to to have more money, success, to have good life.
Yeah. And the United States has a really good marketing process as well, right? The United States is super good in marketing. So they have the movies, they have the superstars, Beyonce, Michael Jackson, and you name it, right? So they created heroes for the entire planet. This is the biggest and largest economy in the world, because of not only the big industries that we have here, which now is not that big anymore, but at the same time, the social process of movies and beauty and the money and this mega heroes that they build. See, Donald Trump, for some people, he's a hero. For some people, he's a hero. So go figure. There is, you know, a little bit of marketing, a little bit of money, and suddenly, poof, you have someone that is extremely, you know, interesting and ideal for maybe, you know, half of the population today. I want to share with you some curiosities. There is a folk song called "This Land Is Your Land." Have you heard this? No. Mm-hmm. Let me do something with you. Because I want you for a second. We talked a lot about the Holophosine, but for a second, I want you just to listen this song. Let me see if I can. I left here for you, as I want you to see what you feel when you hear this song. Let me share this one here. Let's see if you can hear my audio. Can you hear?
This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking that rhythm highway, I saw above me that endless sky.
Okay, this is the children's version, and this is the original version from, it's 1940, from Uri Guthrie, and this is the original one.
This land is your land, and this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest, Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
Okay, so going back to the slides, why I'm showing you this song. In several moments of my life here in the United States, and when I was in transition between a country and another, the helpers, they will put this song in my head. This song is actually used by many countries, Belgium, Netherlands, and several countries around the world. They did their own version. This land is your land, this land is my land. Meaning that this is a land, the principle of the founding fathers here was that this is a place where people can basically escape from everything. They can escape from high taxations from the UK, from slavery, from so many things, and they can come here, and this is liberty for all. This is a land of liberty for all, right? And so that music, if you want just to do an exercise after this, and this is homework if you want, just after this presentation, go to a place, close your eyes and listen to this music. We think that there is a very deep connection to a very strong positive Holophosine of this country, where people imagine a place where everybody was allowed to be free and to have a good life, a decent life, not necessarily a billionaire life, a decent life, right? So I just want to share with you guys, because I thought this was it was very important for us in many moments, and it has a very strong energy there. Other curiosity, the wealthy people here in the United States are generally engaged in philanthropy. And when I say generally, most of the people are participating in nonprofit organizations. They donate the money that they have. They are engaged in helping people. So there is a process where they make a lot of money. They reach a point where they have already enough money. They start to donate their money back to society. So this is interesting that we notice also. Just to have an idea, 30.3% of the US population does volunteer work to animals, to the nature, to people, to other countries. I have friends just this month ago, they went to Haiti to help people to build houses. So they're really intense, and the Holofusine, that's why I started this presentation saying the Holofusine is complex, because there is this violence in the air. Everybody hates each other. They don't like the politicians that they are voting for. They are against, Donald Trump, and they don't like Barack Obama. But at the same time, 30% of the population, it's thinking about others. This is a really interesting percentage. It's a really decent percentage, right? Again, there is no official language for the United States. 82% speaks English, 13 speaks Spanish, and 0.64 speaks Chinese. There is no official religion. Again, liberty for all. Decide what you want to do, whatever religion you want. There is the Republicans party. They obviously they want this to have a specific religion, but at the moment there is no official religion. What are the challenges in living in the United States, right? So Virginia asked me to talk about this. So are there challenges here? There are many challenges. For instance, the first one, if you want to come to the United States, visa is a challenge. Even a tourist visa is a challenge. Some people, my mother, for the initial 10 years that I was here, she did not get a visa. For 10 years, she did not get a visa. On the 11th year, she got a visa. So, and this is tourism. She didn't want to stay here. She's not going to stay here, but it was very hard. So regardless of what you are doing here, we strongly advise that you plan your visa process. Come here in a way that you feel comfortable, that you feel strong, that you feel backed up by the legal system. So that's really important. Money is a big issue here as well, as Christopher was saying. There's a problem here, accumulation. People love to accumulate. Have you seen those movies in where people, they have so many stuff that they put everything in the garage? They put everything in the garage, and the garage you cannot put your car in the garage because of the accumulation of what you have, right? So my boss was moving from one house to an apartment, and he was basically packing his life. He told me that he was taking only 10% of his things to the new apartment. The other 90% he donated because there was no space in the apartment for him. Imagine how many things he had. And this is a life of 30 years of life experience. But money is a problem because the more you buy, the more you want. And then the credit card vice comes. Guys, I get on the mail every single day an offer of a credit card. Every single day. $1,000, $5,000, $10,000. And if I want, I apply, and I get it, and then I have that. Imagine if someone has not enough financial self-organization, what happens? They will start losing everything because they start buying things that they don't need. So too much, too many, right? So having too much sometimes is having too many here. So it's a really big paradox. We have to ponder there in terms of you have too little, for instance, liberty, freedom. If you have too many debt, you have less freedom, don't you? If you have a lot of debt. So is it really freedom to have $50,000 in credit card debt? No, right? It's not freedom. It's a prison, right? So time control, I see that controlling time here is quite challenging. Because, for instance, in Florida, the distance are quite far. So for me to go to my job is 1 hour and 15 minutes each way. So I spend 2 hours and 30 minutes every single day just commuting from my house to my job. And so controlling your time to do your existential program is very challenging when you have a job. That's very, very difficult. Friendships here is very challenging as well. Friendships, believe it or not, in Florida, I'm going to talk about Florida because that's where I live. In Florida, because of the distance, I have many friends here, and I have a dear friend of mine that she lives in Weston. Weston is around 30 minutes from my house, more or less. And but for us to go to the car, travel 30 minutes, stay there, it's a whole process. It's not like in Iguazu Falls that everybody's so connected. It's very far, so it demands energy, it demands dedication, and everybody's very busy all the time. They have a lot of things to do. A friend of mine, we invited him for dinner, and he said, I can go. He looked at his schedule, and he was like, I can go in September 27th. I can be there, September 27th. And I'm like, wow. I remember in the UK was the same thing, Lillian. I remember that people were so busy. So the same issue that we had in the UK with the distances and maintaining friendships is I believe here is much harder, because I think in the UK you have the pubs that we can go to the pubs, and after work, and people after work, they don't go to the pubs. They go straight to the house to sleep and start all over again. The language here is also a challenge. Here we speak Spanglish. In Florida, for instance, we speak Spanish and English together in the same sentence. We speak all of them, and also we are changing a little bit the way that we speak, because there are so many different nationalities around us that we don't know where we are from anymore, right? So language, it is a barrier. It is a distance still between people. Beauty. Women here, they like their bodies. Most of them, they have an ideal type of body, and they want to have a specific type of, size of length of hair and eyelashes and this and that, and they do spend tons of money in makeups. And one of the youngest billionaire in the world I was reading recently, it is a girl from California that she launched a beauty brand. She has 19 years old or 18 years old. She's a billionaire. So that's one of the challenges, because look how much time and energy we would spend on this. So it is a country with a lot of opportunities, but if we don't have organization, self-organization, if you don't know what you want, your focus in life, your existential program, you might deviate very easily, right? Why are you thinking in leaving your country and coming to the United States? I think this is a question that we mentioned before. Why are we thinking in coming to the United States to live here? There was recently this girl from Iguazu Falls that she moved from there to Florida, to Fort Lauderdale. And she came here to look for a job and to start a life. I think she's in the 40s. She's 40 something, and it was really interesting to talk to her and to see the challenges that she went through, because some of the challenges that we discussed here was really interesting. Understanding the money, the reality of the financial part of living in the United States. One thing that Rodrigo and I did, which I strongly recommend, is for you to have your finances in order. What is having finances in order? It's a very simple thing that we could do. Grab an Excel document and put in every line your expenses. Rent, how much? Food, how much per month? Gas, how much? car, how much? And you do a very simple analysis of your expenses, even before you come, if you can, to see how much you are going to spend, how much you are going to have to make per month to have a decent life. Do a really good analysis before, because when we come here, it's not Disneyland anymore. When you come to live, it's your life. So things don't, it's Mickey Mouse is not here with a bag of cash saying, hey, take it, enjoy, that's yours. And you can go to a casino. Here in Florida, we have a lot of casinos. And, if I go to casino and I play, and then maybe I can make, this amount of money, or I play the lottery and I become a millionaire soon, and things like that. So there is a lot of this, idea that, as Christoph was saying, that we will come here and immediately will become rich. It's not like that. Depends on your focus on what you want. If we are talking about existential program, forget about money, because you have to teach, you have to write, you have to travel to teach more. So how much time you do have to make money and do what Waldo says, your retirement, right? To prepare for retirement. So there are several challenges for us to think about it, and to have a precognition of what's going to happen, to try to understand what's going to happen before coming, even as a tourist. Let me give you an example. My friends from Brazil came here recently, and they're not friends from Conscientiology, and they came with an X amount of money, right? And they started spending the money here and there, and then suddenly they had another week and a half to go, and the money had simply disappeared. They used their entire money. And they were like, Patricia, we don't have money anymore. We are going to start eating at home. And I thought they were kidding, but no, immediately everything, and then I told them, well, do you know that in the United States, if you bought something you didn't use, it is in the original package with the label, you can return. So if you want money, return one of the 5 tennis shoes you bought it. So the consumism here, it's really intense. So I don't know if you agree with me. If you have any questions, please feel free. Any questions so far? All good? Luimara, how are you? Good to see you. Luimara was here in the United States with us. Remember, Luimara?
Sure, I did a mistake by my notebook by myself.
Oh my gosh, that's true.
Remember, you came with me back to the store and helped me.
Oh, that's true. Luimara, now I remember. I remember the story. We told Luimara, don't go to downtown Miami to buy notebook. And Luimara went to downtown Miami and bought the notebook.
Yeah.
I remember. But we had a good time, right? We had a good time.
Yeah, nice time. Yeah, I spent some time alone, and I felt so secure that I travel by train by myself. I was feeling so great. It was my first time. It was really nice.
Yeah, that was nice. Well, Conscientiology here in the United States currently, I'm volunteer for Reaprendencia for a couple of years now, and we are teaching monthly classes. We have exercises with energies every single weekend. We have a really nice group of people, and we are helping the people in Puerto Rico. We are teaching in Puerto Rico, in Mexico City. We have Dave and Jane in Washington, D.C., some people in Texas. So the activities here are continuing. We are continue to move Conscientiology forward, and I think this is really interesting, even if you're not coming to live here, but if you want to come for a class, for a course, the feeling the energies here is so interesting. We had last year a couple of instructors, a couple of epicenters teaching classes here for us. And one of them told us, wow, it's amazing. The level of energy that I feel here is the same as it is in a dynamic exercise there in Siaki, in Iguazu Falls. So that was really nice to hear. So we are working as much as we can with the energy that we have, with using all the resources that we have. And we are planning several activities next year as well. So whenever you guys want to join us, we'll be more than happy to receive you guys here. And the experiences, the extra physical experiences here are really interesting. And to learn more about the holoful scene via the helpers, it's actually quite impressive. So any class that you guys can take here that it's more practical, it's really life-changing. It's really cool. So any time you guys want, we are available. The website is reapprehension.org. You guys can find us there, and yeah, we'll be more than happy to see you guys here.
Patricia, I'd like to say that I was thinking about the hollow thing, and two things I think. It's about the sense of superiority. Yeah, one thing, not positive. And a good thing, the welcoming. Yeah, I could say the hollow thing of welcoming for everyone, as you mentioned. Yeah, I think this is a good point.
Yes, you are right. Yeah, both of them are right, although they are in different spectrums of the analysis. One is negative and one is positive. But you're right. When I first arrived here, the welcoming that I received most from the Hispanic communities in the United States and the volunteers, it's so impressive. They are so warm and nice and really willing to help in anything they want. And people from in Florida, there are so many different cultures, and you learn so much from them, so much from their history. I'm working with a lot of Cuban people now and learning from them. It's so amazing what they went through and their life, their stories. So I think people here are really, they're real. They had really strong, dense lives. They did not have a small psychological problem. They had a huge life-changing problem. A friend of mine that I work with, she actually crossed the border from Canada to the United States, hiding from the Cuban government because they were going to do something to her, which I don't know what was it, but basically she is now a citizen. She requested asylum here, and this was 30 years ago. But the way that she did, she was almost like with no clothes, because Cuba is very hot. She went to Canada, it's very cold. She had to cross the border, and the snow was up to her knees, and she was walking for a day and a half with snow through her knees. And these are problems. Wow. When we talk about our little problems, oh, my friend didn't call me, oh, I didn't have this, oh, that person don't talk to me anymore. These are not problems. When we start thinking about immigration, what people suffer to come here, and the difficulties that people had, these are problems, right? So with that, I'm not diminishing anybody's problems. Of course, everybody's problems is important, but what we need to understand in terms of this hollow scene of the United States is that immigration and how that changed the people here, what they went through in life. That's another chapter for analysis, which is really cool, and that make them very welcoming, because they know how much everybody suffered. in average, right?
Patricia?
Yes.
Only there's a question in the chat.
Okay.
De Jundiaí, São Paulo. I don't know if
let me open the chat here.
Okay.
So last year I was crazy to go to the United. This is from Thais. Thais, last year I was crazy to go to work in US. I had some Skype interviews, but the companies don't want to sponsor visa. Lots of work opportunities, but I did not want to risk go illegal. The Holocene of prosperity is really interesting. I agree with you, Thais. I have so many friends that they want to come here to work. These are professionals, most likely like you, that are professionals and very efficient people that the companies they want to hire, but the H-1B visa, which is the working visa that most of the companies have to sponsor, I think the numbers have changed. But Thais, hang tight, because we see the demand for professionals growing is exponential, and I believe that they have to do something eventually here. And we are hearing, I work with a lot of recruiters and companies that recruit people to work in the United States. And if you like, later I can give you, you can get my email with Virginia, and I can send you some contacts. And these are people that they sponsor visa. And I agree with you, don't come illegal. Find a good company that can sponsor you. And the United States are still hiring people using visa. So, and Brazilians, so there are good opportunities. So I can definitely put you in contact with some people so you can start maybe talking to them, for sure. I'll be more than happy to do that for you.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. So guys, thank you very much for the opportunity, for Virginia to organizing this super nice event. And I know that the time is so short, and we talk so fast, and sometimes there is so much to say. So I'm going to share the slides with you guys, and I have a lot of links to really cool websites that talk about the history and the current status of the United States, social, economical, and political. So it will be good for you if you want to study a little bit further to take a look on these links, okay? So now Virginia asked me to do an exercise with energies.
Oh.
We're going to, I'm going to guide the exercise. It's going to be a 10-minute exercise, and then we can complete the lecture. So just find a good position in your chair. Ideally, if the microphone is on, you can simply relax, listen to the ideas that we are going to suggest you to do. These are suggestions. If you want to do something else, it's fine, but we would recommend you to do the exercise. So maybe later we can actually share the experiences, but feel free. So you can close your eyes, breathe deeply a couple of times. Try to relax your neck, your back, your arms, your legs, your face. Try to perceive your physical body and relax as much as you can. So now, focus on your head, on the top of your head. Focus on the energies that are located on the top of your head. Try to feel the chakras on top of your head, around your head, your nuchal chakra. And slowly, let's move the energy to your feet. Bring the energies from your head up to your feet. And now concentrate the energies on your feet. Trying to feel the energies on your plantar chakras, on your feet, around your feet. And let's bring the energy from your feet back to your head and from the head back to your feet. So up and down, up and down. Keep on moving the energy throughout your body. Try to perceive if there is any blockage and move the energy with a little bit more intensity through this blockage. Let's unblock, let's make our energetic body a bit healthier. If you feel like, let's start intensifying this movement of energies until you achieve the vibrational state. Try to perceive each cell of your body vibrating. Use your will, your determination to move these energies faster and faster until everything inside and outside is vibrating. Try to pay attention to the physical sensations of the vibrational state. How do you feel your body? How do you perceive your physical body when you are installing the vibrational state? Now slowly you can diminish the vibrational state. Until you stop. And let's now absorb energies from a font of immanent energy that you know. That might be the beach, a forest, waterfall, the sky, the cosmos. Focus on a place that there is a lot of immanent energies and positive energies, and absorb energies from there. Try to perceive these new energies, positive energies, arriving in your psychosphere, getting to your energetic body, replenishing your chakras. Now slowly we can diminish the absorption of energies, breathing deeply a couple of times, reconnecting the energies in your physical body, perceiving your physical body. Open your eyes. Is everybody okay? Yeah? All good? Does anyone want to comment anything? Do we have time for comments, Virginia? No?
Yes, if someone wants to tell something, I think 1 minute, 2, 3. Here we are okay, very well.
Great, great, great.
That was very good. Thank you for your presentation. It's really nice.
Thank you very much for having me. Sincerely appreciate. We hope that we can have more time one day to discuss more and in a little bit more depth, but I think we are out of time now. I'm going to be sending the presentation to Virginia, and I believe she will probably share with all of you guys. And if you have any questions, Virginia has my contact, so we can keep in touch. Okay? Thank you very much, guys.
I'd like to thank you. And also, I was thinking if you could prepare some kind of presentation related to the extra-physical perceptions of Fort Lauderdale, yeah? Because I've just heard about it. I don't know anything else, but I think as you have some experiences, and also about the helpers and this parapsychic and this stuff of our interests, extra-physical ones, yeah?
Okay, perfect. Oh, for sure, no problem. Thank you very much, guys. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a great Sunday, everyone.
Thank you.
You too.
Bye, bye, Chris. Bye.
Only to
Bye,
remember
dear.
just one information. I just really forget, but now I remind that next month we are going to have the International Week in Fort Iguazu. So we are not going to continue the presentations in August, but in September we continue with more countries, okay? Always the fourth week of the month, okay? Thank you very much for your participation.
Okay.
Ciao, bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Kisses. Bye.
Bye.